were pierced with 4 doorways, 2 on either side, which led, I presume, to chambers hewn in the rock. At each of these doorways stood a tall woman clothed in white, who held in her hand a burning torch. I concluded that these were attendants set there to guide and welcome us, for after we had passed they vanished into the chambers. But this was not all. Set across the little bay of water just above the canoe that floated there was a wooden platform, 8 feet or so square, on either side of which stood an enormous elephant's tusk, bigger indeed than any I have seen in all my experience, which tusks seemed to be black with age. Between the tusks, squatted upon rugs of some kind of rich fur, was what from its shape and attitude I at first took to be a huge toad. In truth it had all the appearance of a very bloated toad. There was the rough corrugated skin, there the prominent backbone, for its back was towards us, and there were the thin splayed out legs. We stared at this strange object for quite a long while, unable to make it out in that uncertain light, for so long indeed that I grew nervous and was about to ask the Kalubi what it might be. As my lips opened, however, it stirred, and with a slow, groping, circular movement turned itself towards us very slowly. At length it was round, and as the head came in view, all the Pongo from the Kalubi down ceased their low, weird chant, and flung themselves upon their faces, those who had torches still holding them up in their right hands. Oh, what a thing appeared! It was not a toad, but a man that moved upon all fours. The large, bald head was sunk deep between the shoulders, either through deformity or from age, for this creature was undoubtedly very old. Looking at it, I wondered how old, but could form no answer in my mind. The great broad face was sunken and withered, like to leather dried in the sun. The lower lip hung pendulously upon the prominent and bony jaw. 2 yellow, tusk-like teeth projected one at each side of the great mouth. All the rest were gone, and from time to time it licked the white gums with a red-pointed tongue, as a snake might do. But the chief wonder of the thing lay in its eyes that were large and round, perhaps because the flesh had shrunk away from them, which gave them the appearance of being set in the hollow orbits of the skull. These eyes literally shone like fire. Indeed, at times they seemed positively to blaze, as I have seen a lion's eyes do in the dark. I confess that the aspect of the creature terrified and for a while paralyzed me. To think that it was human was awful. I glanced at the others and saw that they too were frightened. Stephen turned very white. I thought that he was going to be sick again, as he was after he drank the coffee out of the wrong bowl on the day we entered Mazitu-land. Brother John stroked his white beard and muttered some invocation to Heaven to protect him. Hans explained in his abominable Dutch: "Oh, kick, Baas, das is gel liquor oud deal." Oh, look, Baas, there is the ugly old devil himself. Jerry went flat on his face among the Pongo, muttering that he saw death before him. Only Mavovo stood firm, perhaps because as a witch-doctor of repute he felt that it did not become him to show the white feather in the presence of an evil spirit. The toad-like creature on the platform swayed its great head slowly as a tortoise does, and contemplated us with its flaming eyes. At length it spoke in a thick, guttural voice, using the tongue that seemed to be common in this part of Africa, and indeed to that branch of the Bantu people to which the Zulus belong, but, as I thought, with a foreign accent. "So you are the white man come back," it said slowly. "Let me count." And lifting one skinny hand from the ground, it pointed with the forefinger and counted. 1, tall, with a white beard. Yes, that is right. 2, short, nimble like a monkey, with hair that wants no comb. Clever too, like a father of monkeys. Yes, that is right. 3, smooth-faced, young and stupid, like a fat baby that laughs at the sky because he is full of milk and thinks that the sky is laughing at him. Yes, that is right. All 3 of you are just the same as you used to be. Do you remember, White Beard, how, while we killed you, you said prayers to One who sits above the world, and held up a cross of bone to which a man was tied who wore a cap of thorns? Do you remember how you kissed the man with the cap of thorns as the spear went into you? You shake your head. Oh, you are a clever liar. But I will show you that you are a liar, for I have the thing yet," and snatching up a horn that lay on the kaross beneath him, he blew. As the peculiar wailing note that the horn made died away, a woman dashed out of one of the doorways that I have described, and flung herself on her knees before him. He muttered something to her, and she dashed back again to reappear in an instant, holding in her hand a yellow ivory crucifix. "Here it is, here it is," he said. "Take it, White Beard, and kiss it once more, perhaps for the last time." And he threw the crucifix to Brother John, who caught it and stared at it amazed. "And do you remember, Fat Baby, how we caught you? You fought well, very well, but we killed you at last, and you were good, very good. We got much strength from you. And do you remember, Father of Monkeys, how you escaped from us with your cleverness? I wonder where you went to and how you died. I shall not forget you, for you gave me this," and he pointed to a big white scar upon his shoulder. "You would have killed me, but the stuff in that iron tube of yours burned slowly when you held the fire to it, so that I had time to jump aside, and the iron ball did not strike me in the heart as you meant that it should. Yes, it is still here, oh yes, I carry it with me to this day, and now that I have grown thin, I can feel it with my finger." I listened astonished to this harangue, which, if it meant anything, meant that we had all met before, in Africa at some time when men used matchlocks that were fired with a fuse, that is to say, about the year 1700 or earlier. Reflection, however, showed me the interpretation of this nonsense. Obviously this old priest's forefather, or, if one put him at 120 years of age, and I am sure that he was not a day less, perhaps his father as a young man was mixed up with some of the first Europeans who penetrated to the interior of Africa. Probably these were Portuguese, of whom one may have been a priest, and the other two an elderly man and his son, or young brother, or companion. The manner of the deaths of these people, and of what happened to them generally, would of course be remembered by the descendants of the chief or head medicine man of the tribe. "Where did we meet and when, O Motombo?" I asked. "Not in this land, not in this land, Father of Monkeys," he replied in his low rumbling voice, "but far, far away towards the west where the sun sinks in the water, and not in this day, but long, long ago. 20 Kalubis have ruled the Pongo since that day. Some have ruled for many years, and some have ruled for a few years. That depends upon the will of my brother, the god yonder," and he chuckled horribly and jerked his thumb backward over his shoulder towards the forest on the mountain. "Yes, 20 have ruled, some for 30 years, and none for less than 4. "Well, you are a large old liar," I thought to myself, for taking the average rule of the Kalubis at 10 years, this would mean that we met him 2 centuries ago at least. "You were clothed otherwise then," he went on, "and 2 of you wore hats of iron on the head, but that of White Beard was shaven. I caused a picture of you to be beaten by the master smith upon a plate of copper. I have it yet." Again he blew upon his horn, again a woman darted out, to whom he whispered, again she went to one of the chambers and returned bearing an object which he cast to us. We looked at it. It was a copper or bronze plaque, black apparently with age, which once had been nailed on something, for there were the holes. It represented a tall man with a long beard and a tonsured head, who held a cross in his hand. and two other men, both short, who wore round metal caps and were dressed in queer